The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air would premiere on September 10, 1990. The series would follow in the footsteps of The Cosby Show, showcasing an upper-middle-class black family who was joined by their hip relative from West Philadelphia. The series was based on the life of music manager Benny Medina as he moved from the hood in Watts, California to Beverly Hills while he was growing up. The Fresh Prince was an instant hit on NBC's must-see TV lineup. For 6 seasons, Will Smith would play a fictionalized version of himself as a fish-out-of-water nephew who lived with his wealthy side of the family. Viewers would tune in weekly to see what antics Will and the Banks family would get into. Outside of the Banks family, one of the most beloved characters on the show was Geoffrey, the butler, played by Joeseph Marcel. Marcel would appear in all 148 episodes of the series. Geoffrey would be known for his sarcasm and witty comebacks around the family. Since The Fresh Prince went off air over 23 years ago, fans continue to quote the very memorable performance of Joeseph Marcel. Now, despite the fact that we haven't seen much of Marcel in recent years, his role as Geoffrey will always remain a classic, and that is why he's unforgotten. Joeseph Marcel was born on August 14, 1948 in St Lucia, an island off the eastern Caribbean, before his family immigrated to England at a young age. Marcel initially studied electrical engineering in college and even worked as an electrician's assistant at Buckingham Palace before his venture into acting. One day, while hanging out with his friends, Marcel would encounter a sign that would ultimately change the course of his career. He discovered his love of acting and theater and wouldn't look back. We saw at the Aldwych Theater that there was an American company. They were performing a play called Black New World. I persuaded my friends to go in, we paid our money, and watched this amazing piece of theater. That was it. I was a goner. Since that moment, Marcel dived into theater, learning everything he could, and would study the craft at the Central School of Speech and Drama, and got his big break when he joined the Royal Shakespeare Company in 1972. I watched and learned. That is the wonderful thing about working for a company like RSC. It is a long contract and you learn so much just being surrounded by all that talent. Now, during his time doing theater in England, he got a chance to work with actors like Star Trek's Patrick Stewart, and by the time Marcel got a call asking him to send in a tape for this new sitcom starring Will Smith and James Avery, he had already 18 years worth of acting experience under his belt. Originally, Marcel wasn't able to immediately fly to Los Angeles due to his commitment with a stage play. But once the play finished its run and Marcel touched down on the US, the entire cast and crew was already familiar with him. I finished the stage play, I flew out to Los Angeles, I arrived at my hotel and my phone just started ringing. Everybody knew who I was and I didn't know anybody. The first person I met was actually James Avery, and then I went upstairs to meet Will and all the producers and Debbie Allen, who directed the first episode, and I was in awe of all of the important people. After Marcel and the rest of the cast filmed the pilot, he flew back to Europe for a televised play. Now, after recording, he was notified that NBC ordered a full season of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Throughout the entire run of the series, Geoffrey stood on the sidelines offering classic clapbacks and side comments to the rest of the family, all done with love. Marcel's performance of Geoffrey was loved by fans and critics alike. It was an amazing chance to work with a predominantly African American pool of talent. I had no idea what would happen or that I would still be followed through the streets today by people calling me Geoffrey in hopes that I will react and confirm the suspicions. Being away from my family proved lonely at times. My daughter was young, but we made the decision not to leave the UK altogether. We became a part-time family and our telephone bills were monumental. Marcel unknowingly had no idea that The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was going to be as big as it became when he signed on. It opened at 8 p.m. on a Monday night on September 10, 1990. Monday night was entirely American football traditionally. None of the networks bothered to put anything up against football. It was a phenomenon. It was totally unheard of that people would leave Monday Night Football. And as you know, in America, nothing succeeds like success, and the rest is history. When The Fresh Prince ended in 1996, Marcel made a return to his first love, theater in the UK. However, he still continues to perform in both England and the United States. The screen pays better, but the stage is for the soul. The stage forces you to maintain a performance over several months. You learn to adjust to the eccentricities of your director and the discoveries of your fellow actors. The interaction with the audience keeps the play alive and evolving. As far as his career on camera after Fresh Prince, he would continue to appear in guest roles on various shows like Living Single in 1997 and a very special episode of In the House starring LL Cool J in 1998, which would reunite him with his former Fresh Prince co-stars Alfonso Ribeiro, James Avery, and Daphne Reed. In 2003, Marcel would land a recurring role on The Bold and Beautiful. He would appear in over 25 episodes of the soap opera, and once the role ended, he returned to the UK where he continued theater. As far as family life, he's been married to his wife Joyce since 1995. The two share a daughter, and from a previous marriage, Marcel also has a son. Staying true to his theater roots, Marcel is still a member of the Royal Shakespeare Company and serves on the board of the Global Theatre. He would take on a part in the Shakespeare play Much Ado About Nothing in 2011 and played the role of King Lear in 2013. In addition to the stage, Marcel has dabbled in television as well. He guest starred on a British crime drama Death in Paradise in 2014. To this day, Marcel continues to get recognized for his work on The Fresh Prince. We went to a nightclub, and I tell you, when people realized who I was and word got out, 280 people stood up and sang out. This is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. I just thought, bloody hell, it seems to be a legend of generations. And if you're wondering, Marcel has still continued to stay in touch with his Fresh Prince co-stars on screen and in real life. In 2013, due to the unfortunate passing of Fresh Prince co-star James Avery, Marcel would catch up with his former castmates. In 2014, Marcel would tweet a photo of himself, Karen Parsons, and Tatiana Ali supporting Alfonso Ribeiro while he was a contestant on Dancing with the Stars. And in 2017, Marcel made an appearance in the Lifetime holiday film Wrapped Up for Christmas, reuniting with Tatiana. Now, as far as his most recent work, Marcel's most recent film was released in 2019 called The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, a drama starring Chiwetel Ejiofor on Netflix. It would be Marcel's first screen role since 2014. Since The Fresh Prince first ended, there have been plenty of rumors of a possible reboot. However, former cast members Alfonso Ribeiro and Karen Parsons have both said in 2019 that there wasn't a possibility of a Fresh Prince reboot, especially due to the tragic loss of the late James Avery. Marcel gave viewers a character that showcased a new perspective on a butler and will show no matter how small the role, the impact can still be felt for many years to come. So if fans don't get a reboot with the show's original cast, one thing is for certain: Joeseph Marcel will remain unforgotten.